Hi everyone, my name is Fedor and you are on X-Founders channel. X-Founders is a bootcamp for Web3 startups where ambitious founders learn, share experience and help each other implement Web3 projects. More information about X-Founders in the description. Our guest is Dominik, product manager at Polygon. Today, together with Dominik, we will talk about product development aspects at Web3 and many different interesting things. Hey Dominik, nice to meet you here. Thanks for coming.
Hi there, nice to meet you. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, the first question is, can you share a bit about yourself and your experience?
Yes, sure. From my background, I'm a mathematician and philosopher. I studied math and philosophy, and then I worked a little bit in consultancies, risk management for banks, for example, but that was not fulfilling to me. And quite early, I was lucky to meet people that worked on the Radon network in 2017. So the Radon network was one of the first, or the first scaling solution for Ethereum. Basically, it's based on the same paper that the Bitcoin Lightning paper is based on. And it works quite similar. So it's a payment channel solution such that people can pay each other off-chain tokens. And I worked with the Radon network as a project manager, and later I developed some code, and I also helped out with some business development for it. And after 3 years, we decided it's not worth it. So there are no users, or there are better solutions out there. And I joined Consensus and helped the MetaMask team with a product, the bridging feature for MetaMask. And last year, I joined Polygon to help with, as a product manager, with Polygon Maiden, a zero-knowledge rollup for Maiden. So basically, my whole career, I tried to scale Ethereum,
Nice.
but no luck so far. I guess with Maiden now, hopefully we can scale it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot for your experience. And it's interesting because you have like such a really different experience. And can you maybe share about is it like can you emphasize maybe some difference between Web3 and Web2 products in terms of product development things? Is it any like kind of differentiation? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like what I know from Web2 development and is basically when you look at these, for example, lean startup approaches, then you do a lot of user development. So you first look at what could be your user group, and then you try to build a product to solve a problem for that user group, and you adapt and adjust the product on your journey, right? So at the beginning, you might have idea A, and then you get user feedback, and then basically it pivots into idea B and C and D, and at the end, you have a product and a user group. And in crypto or Web3 products, there are almost no users. And that leads to no feedback. And together with the fact that most of the Web3 products and projects are heavily overfunded, so they have way too much money, and then they can develop without user feedback for years. And I would say that's what happened with Radon, for example. Like without a single user, we could develop for 4 years on a protocol that we thought, or 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, that it is a smart idea. And then you can just keep developing, and you always hang on the promise that there will be users. Like at the moment, no one wants to use it, but in 3 years, then it will explode. And I think so this is a core challenge in Web3 product development, I would say. And let's say it's the most difficult thing to accept, that yeah, like you need to find a user group and you need to do lots of user interviews, and you should not rely on like your idea, the idea that you have in your head, or the interesting computer science problem that you want to solve, and build your product around it. But to me, the most successful Web3 products, they solve a clear user problem, and they are not the technologically smartest solutions.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, it's close to Web 2 in this moment. Yeah, and can you add maybe some, common challenges that can you met to Web 3 and how to overcome them? This, I mean, for example, when you talked about like the audience in Web 3, it's not really the same, and they have a bit different from Web 2, and actually like the marketing channels is really different. And for example, everybody like in Web3 have their own like Web3 early adopters group, and you work really closely with this, and yeah, and you try to get feedback. But the early adopters is also have like huge risks when you make it like when you're open token sale for for your company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you maybe a bit like add some challenges around this and this product side? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I would say the core challenge is try to stick to a user problem and not
Mm-hmm.
to a computer science problem. Like this is the
Mm-hmm.
core challenge. Like in crypto, they are working extremely smart people,
Mm-hmm.
and they all want to focus on something like a computer science problem that could be solved in a better way or a different way. And almost no one focuses on, okay, what actually benefits the user, or what do they want? And another problem, I would say, or like a challenge, is that product managers should know the market and the competitors very well. So we build software, and basically they should also use the competitors' software. They should know which problem they are solving and what the pitfalls might be. And then I would say, like a challenge that I experienced over the last 7 years or so was that you should keep it as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally the product is experimental enough, right? So if you build a new bridge or something that is even not a copycat, but something completely new in the Web3 space, and this is experimental enough, and try to keep conservative and to stick to well-known software development processes that work. And then like it will be more successful. Like if you want to do everything in an experimental way, like how you manage your team and how you work together and how you pay each other, and if everything is experimental and not only the product, then there's way more room for distraction and failure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have the feeling that when you stick to more conservative software development processes and something that works, and also in the marketing processes, then it will be more successsul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Keep it simple. In terms of UX UI, yeah, it's actually a huge problem, or maybe barriers for mass adoption for audiences from Web 2. Yeah.
But I would say not only in the
Mm-hmm.
UX way,
Mm-hmm.
I would also say from the idea. Like when you look at like Ethereum didn't scale in 2016, right? 2017. And then there were answers to it. And basically Polkadot, Avalanche, like all these alternative layer ones, they are an answer to how you could build a blockchain better. And like who won out of these basically alternative layer ones? They are hugely like well sophisticated blockchain protocols, and they have super smart engineers. But who turned out to be the winner out of this race was Binance Smart Chain and Polygon POS. And this is a super simple copycat of the Geeth client. So there is no sophisticated consensus algorithm beyond it, or sophisticated programming language, or like they kept it super simple, and they had the most users and the most traction and the most economic activity. Whereas blockchains that are highly complex and like Near, Polkadot, Avalanche, whatever, like they didn't keep it simple, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and can you share insights of effective product development methods for Web3 projects? It's really, it could be really helpful for our Web3 founders.
The most successful Web3 products I've seen, they are super simple to use and solve a user problem. MetaMask swaps, for example, like this simple button in the MetaMask wallet has huge revenue and it's super simple to use. And it's for people who want to swap something. They trust the brand MetaMask and they pay a bit more, but that's a super simple product because the product manager talked a lot to users and they developed the product out of this user need. And I would say Polygon POS, for example, is also quite a successful product. And it's like super simple to use for the target group. So people who want to use Ethereum actually, but it's too expensive, they can one-to-one use Polygon. And this is also super smart, simple use case.
Okay, clear vision, simply to use. I mean, the clear understanding of why it's existing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Nice principles. Yeah. Have a next question is some problem about like developers in stealth mode. Why the product research component is really important, and what happens when a developer doesn't pay attention for that? I mean, there are a lot of developers who build a lot of products, but they can't transform this product into the business. They just can make it like beautiful code, but they don't know how to make business development part, customer development, or marketing, or things like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why the question
That's the biggest problem, I would say.
Yeah, and that's why the question is here about like product research component. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
How? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like build something, even if it's not super secure already, and put it out, not in stealth mode, and see how it is used. Like if you develop something for 2 years in stealth mode and then you find out that it's not actually solving a problem, then it's a super stupid way of wasting time. And especially in Web3, there are so few real users. Like then it's like build something, and even it could just be a website or so, and then just show it to people and say like, this is how I would build X, Y, Z. And like if the protocol behind it is not secure at the beginning, that's okay, as long as you have a clear path how you make it more secure, how to make it more decentralized. But yeah, start something with training wheels, and it can be a simple multi-sig at the beginning, as long as you make sure that there are not billions of dollars in it. And the moment when there are billions of dollars in it, then you should have a secure, decentralized way to secure these funds. But yeah, I would say like build something, even if it's not perfect, and show it. And this is, I would say, product research. And the same, like on the same way, I think this is also helpful, is to look at the competitors in depth, look at their code, look at their bugs, look at their problems. Most of Web3 products are on GitHub and open source. So you can even look at the discussions they have in the issues and see, okay, well, they also have problems with X, Y, Z. So you can incorporate that and anticipate that even in your product.
Yeah, you need to show like your idea and MVP as fast as possible to save your time.
Yeah.
Time is also resources. Yeah, 3 years of developing it's sounds not too great actually.
No.
Yeah. I know you're focusing on zero knowledge a lot. Can you like what is this and why it's so popular right now?
Yeah. I think zero knowledge, like it's actually an old concept from the 80s, and it's a protocol, a mathematical protocol, or it's a protocol how someone can prove knowledge of something and without revealing the information or too much information. But why is it important now? Zero knowledge actually solve the blockchain problem of scalability. So basically, in a very simple terms, a blockchain follows the paradigm: don't trust, verify, right? So so we don't want to trust a centralized server or a group of people and say, how much does Alice own? We need to verify it, because like this is the whole point about blockchains, right? And this don't trust, verify traditionally in blockchains meant that everything needs to be transparent, and then everyone can recompute everything. So if I want to know how much Alice has, how much Bitcoin or how much Ether, then I can look it up because I know everything, what Alice has done since Genesis. And then I can I exactly know the balance of Alice's account. And this is highly inefficient. Like that's why blockchains don't scale, basically, because everyone needs to recompute everything, and we get what is called an execution bloat. And with zero knowledge, we can now have keep this paradigm: don't trust, verify. But we can verify without the need of recomputation. So zero knowledge, the protocol gives us a way to verify something without recomputing it, meaning that we can outsource computation now and say part of the blockchain only computes something and knows something. And then they create a zero knowledge proof and only send the zero knowledge proof for verification into the broader network. And then like all the work, creating the proof, computing the state, is done by only a part of the network. And verifying zero knowledge proofs, that's the beauty of it, is super simple. And that's how we can now scale, because we can distribute the work. Everyone can compute something and they just send proofs to each other. And that's way easier than recomputation. So we can keep this don't trust, verify, and we use for verification zero knowledge proofs. And this actually gives us scaling and privacy in blockchains. And this is like what people were trying to solve over the last 5 or 10 years, even in blockchains. And so actually, I would say it's a breakthrough technology in the blockchain space.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic, and yeah, it sounds like two the core problems of blockchain and how you can increase capacity of the blockchain using the zero knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, how we can like grow the capacity?
How
Yeah,
how you can
yes,
do it?
in
Okay.
terms
Yes.
maybe some numbers
With,
or yeah.
yes, like with off-chain scaling, basically you can yeah, basically that's the so you have a novel blockchain network, and that can now, like the layer one, can serve as the settlement layer, basically. Where all the rollups have a smart contract, and then a rollup itself takes all the execution. So the computation or the actual transactions, they all happen on the rollup, and they get bundled together. And then on Ethereum layer one, for example, you only update the state root, or the hash of the state. Okay, what does that mean? So basically, when you look at a blockchain, you can basically express everything that is currently the state, everything that is currently the truth of the blockchain. You can express it in a single hash.
Yeah.
And this hash, it represents in one moment of the time the whole state of the blockchain. So how many coins does Alice has? How many coins does Bob have? And so on and so forth. And like in the next moment of time, like this state root basically changes. Like if something changes in the system, in the blockchain, then also the state root changes because it's like a Merkleized data structure. So yeah, and this change from one root to another root can be proven with a zero knowledge proof. So basically, on Ethereum layer 1, you only need to track one hash and the proof in the smart contract. But in theory, you can add millions of different rollups to Ethereum, and on a rollup you can add other rollups, and then basically you can scale indefinitely if you want. So capacity and scalability should not be a problem anymore for blockchain.
And maybe you can give some numbers of like transactions or costs. I mean, yeah, for understanding how it's differ from the approach before. Yeah, like millions transactions per second, or yeah.
Like in theory, yeah, like, but it's not realistic. So I zero knowledge rollup at the moment. Yeah, it depends on different factors. But if you look at UK EVMs, for example, you could in theory have 5 million gas per second, I guess. But this is not sustainable. So at the moment, the best zero knowledge rollups in production, they do in the like from 10 to 100 TPS, but it always depends on how complex the transaction is. And I think in the future, we can see way more. Like Maiden, for example, the project I'm working on, like we try to optimize for this, like throughput. And so we think of 1000 TPS or so in the future. But yeah, in theory, you can add 1000 Maiden rollups on blockchain as well. So, and then you could multiply it.
Oh, okay.
But that's
okay.
probably not needed. So I think the current, like the supply should be secure now, but the demand, like not too many people need that. Like yeah, at the moment. So maybe in 5 years, if we have way more end users or mass adoption, then we might need 100,000 TPS or so. And in theory, with this architecture, you can provide this, but at the moment, 100 TPS should be sufficient, actually.
Yeah, you know, it's also like give some thoughts about that. Web3 is not ready for mass adoption before
Yes.
this kind of technology will be created. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, you know, you have to know a lot, and you have to know like what your competitors are doing right now, and what kind of like many new tools and approach are coming, and where and how do you keep track of new technologies and tools in Web3? I mean, how do you set up information streams for yourselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually a very good question. Like I would say my main source is Twitter still. Like everything on crypto happens in Twitter, I have the feeling. And then I use some blogs and conferences. Like to me, these ETH global conferences are very good. Obviously, DEF CON is the main conference to go, like in the ecosystem. But I would say also for others, maybe, okay, Bitcoin is not represented there, but yeah, so in that order. So Twitter, blog posts, conferences, I would say, to learn about new technologies and the network then.
And you're using also Telegram groups, different or horizontal connections with, yeah.
Yes, like for every, like I have a huge Telegram
long list of different chats and groups.
long list of people, and then someone posts something, and then Yeah. But I would say I use Twitter even more, like Telegram to communicate, but Twitter to source information, I would say.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it have to become more Web3 someday. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you a lot. And can you maybe give some advice for early stage founders who want to create some projects in Web3 or who want to make transition from Web2 to Web3? Maybe you can save a lot of time, money, and nervous for our audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think so. I hope. Like I would name three things.
Mm-hmm.
First, like copy what already works. Look at
Okay.
BSC, Polygon POS, MetaMask swaps. Look at what already works and copy that for your first project. And maybe change a slight thing. The second is like better build something early and ship before doing it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like build something and ship and then like improve afterwards when you see it works. And the third thing is learn how to code to understand your target group. Coding nowadays is like getting way more easier with ChatGPT and stuff. But your target audience in Web3 are developers at the moment. So you need to speak their language and know their problems, I would say.
Yeah, it's a great advice. If you have if you're like kind of business development guy, you don't know how to code, you have to find the co-founders who, as a CTO or some dev who can help you to understand deeply your audience. You mean that it's almost impossible to create something in the pre without like hard skills in code or development things because it's like straight connected with your audience as well. Yeah, you
Yes,
can understand what
yes,
they need. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's like having a bookshop or without knowing how to read. Like you don't have
yeah.
to code perfectly, right? But it's
Hmm.
like, but there are so many good tutorials, and I would say everyone can at least like have a basic understanding how it works, and then
Yeah. So sounds good. It's actually it's a good advice. Yeah, so absolutely useful. Okay, Dominic, thanks a lot for our conversation. It was really, really great. Yeah,
thanks a lot.
and I hope to see
Thanks for
you
having me.
soon personally in
Yeah,
bootcamp
would be nice.
someday.
Peter,
Yeah.
have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.